The Galactic Survey ship Eternal Seeker drifted silently through the outer reaches of an unremarkable solar system, its sensors quietly mapping the usual details, planetary compositions, radiation patterns, and gravitational anomalies. Senior observer Ixil would have normally been bored to tears during such a routine survey, but something about this system's third planet kept drawing their attention back to the sensor displays. Analyst Kren, Ixil called out, their crystalline appendages clicking together in agitation. Run another deep scan of that electromagnetic spectrum analysis. There's something odd about these readings. Kren, a newer addition to the crew whose gelatinous form rippled with every keystroke, manipulated the ship's sophisticated sensing arrays. Observer, I've triple-checked. The energy signatures simply don't make sense. They're too organized to be natural, too crude to be civilized, and yet. They paused, additional eyes blinking into existence as they focused on the data. There's something else. Something underneath. Ixil floated closer to the display, their crystalline body refracting the soft bridge lighting. The planet below them was a swirling mass of blue and white, its surface mostly covered in water, typical for a life-bearing world. What wasn't typical were the energy patterns emanating from its surface and near-orbit space. Look here, Kren continued, highlighting a section of the analysis. These electromagnetic emissions suggest primitive radio communications, ancient satellite technology, and combustion-based propulsion systems. But then we get these occasional power spikes that are completely inconsistent with that level of development. Could it be natural phenomena? Solar flare interaction, perhaps. Negative. The patterns are too regular, too controlled. Someone down there is generating enormous amounts of power and trying very hard to make it look like they're not. Ixil's crystalline form shifted colors, moving from a calm blue to an uncertain purple. The Eternal Seeker was a survey vessel, not a first contact ship. They weren't equipped or authorized to handle emerging civilizations. Protocol dictated they should report their findings and move on. Protocol, however, didn't account for Ixil's curiosity. Take us closer, they ordered. Maintain stealth fields at maximum. The ship descended silently through the outer layers of the atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to what they assumed would be primitive detection systems. They were wrong. Observer. Kren's form rippled in alarm. We're being hailed, in perfect galactic standard. Before Ixil could respond, a calm voice filled the bridge. Unidentified vessel, this is Earth Orbital Control. Your stealth systems are quite impressive, but we've been tracking you since you entered the solar system. Would you prefer to continue pretending we can't see you, or should we have a proper conversation? The bridge crew froze. Ixil's crystalline form cycled through a rainbow of shocked colors before settling on a professional shade of blue-green. This is Senior Observer Ixil of the Galactic Survey ship Eternal Seeker. We appear to have made some incorrect assumptions about your civilization's capabilities. A warm chuckle came through the communication system. Don't worry about it. Happens all the time. Would you like to come down for coffee? Our planetary coordinator would love to chat about those assumptions. 6 hours later, Ixil sat in a comfortable chair in what they'd been told was a small meeting room in a city called Geneva, their crystalline form still trying to process everything they'd seen. The room itself was deceptive. At first glance, it appeared almost primitive with its wooden furniture and paper documents. But Ixil's sensors detected quantum-encrypted communications flowing through the walls, and the coffee machine in the corner had more computing power than some spacecraft. Across the table, planetary coordinator Sarah Martinez sipped her coffee with an amused expression. So, let me make sure I understand this correctly. You detected our power signatures, assumed we were trying to hide something, and decided to investigate, without considering that we might be hiding something because we're more advanced than we appear. Ixil's form shifted to an embarrassed pink. When you put it that way, it does seem rather presumptuous of us. Oh, don't worry about it, Martinez waved her hand dismissively. You're actually the third survey ship to do this month. Usually, they stay in high orbit though. Points for boldness. Third ship. Ixil's color shifted to alarm. But this sector was assigned exclusively to the Eternal Seeker for survey. Yes, about that. Martinez's smile grew wider. We should probably discuss why your Galactic Survey Council keeps sending ships to observe us while pretending they haven't. Just like we should probably discuss why you thought your stealth technology would work against a civilization that's mastered quantum field manipulation. Ixil's form nearly stopped refracting light entirely. You've mastered, but your satellites, the radio waves, are exactly what we want people to see. Martinez leaned forward. Here's the thing, Observer Ixil. Humanity learned a long time ago that the best way to keep our innovations safe was to let others underestimate us. We broadcast on radio waves because they work perfectly well for daily communication. We use chemical rockets because they're efficient for certain purposes. And we let survey ships think they're being sneaky because it tells us a lot about their capabilities. The door opened, and an aide walked in with a data pad. Martinez glanced at it and her smile took on a hint of steel. For instance, we now know exactly how your stealth systems work, thanks to your close approach. We appreciate the data. Ixil's crystalline form shifted through so many colors it looked like a malfunctioning light display. I should report this to the council. Of course, Martinez nodded. In fact, we'd appreciate it if you did. It's about time we had an official first contact that wasn't just us pretending not to notice survey ships. But first. She slid a small device across the table. Would you like to see what we're actually capable of? I promise it will make your report much more interesting. As Ixil reached for the device with a trembling crystalline appendage, they couldn't help but think that the galaxy was about to become a much more complicated place. The humans had been watching their watchers all along, and now they were ready to show their hand, or at least, the parts of it they wanted to reveal. The device activated, projecting a hologram of Earth's actual technological capabilities, and Ixil's form went completely transparent in shock. The game of galactic hide and seek was over, and humanity had won before anyone else even knew they were playing. High Admiral Zextal of the Galactic Defense Council stood at the viewport of his flagship, his scaled armor plates rippling with barely contained frustration. Below, the blue-green orb of Earth rotated serenely, seemingly oblivious to the fleet of inspection vessels in orbit around it. Explain to me again, he rumbled to his aide, why we're conducting a full defensive capabilities inspection of a world that, until 3 cycles ago, was considered a pre-contact civilization. Senior Analyst Vex, her crystalline form deliberately maintaining a calm blue hue, pulled up a holographic display. The Eternal Seeker incident changed everything, sir. Their report suggested Earth has been deliberately concealing advanced technologies. The Council wants to know exactly what we're dealing with. And they sent me because, sir, you've never failed to accurately assess a civilization's military capabilities in your entire career. Zextal's armor plates clicked together in amusement. Flattery, Analyst Vex. Merely stating facts, Admiral. The communication system chimed. Earth orbital control to Galactic Defense Fleet. Your inspection team is cleared to descend. Ambassador Martinez will meet you at the Singapore space elevator. Zextal's head snapped around so fast his armor plates rattled. Space elevator? Their file shows no space elevator technology. Their file shows a lot of things that aren't accurate, sir, Vex replied diplomatically. The descent to Earth's surface was a lesson in contradictions. The space elevator itself was a marvel of engineering, yet they passed dozens of primitive chemical rockets making their way to orbit. The construction appeared to be standard carbon nanotubes, but Zextal's sensors detected exotic materials that shouldn't have been possible at Earth's stated technological level. Ambassador Sarah Martinez waited for them at the base station, looking exactly like the images from the Eternal Seeker report. Hi Admiral, welcome to Earth. I trust the descent was comfortable. Ambassador, Zextal's voice was carefully neutral. Your elevator is unexpected. Oh, that old thing. Martinez smiled. Just a simple carbon nanotube construction. Nothing special. Now, shall we begin the inspection? We've prepared a comprehensive tour of our defensive installations. The next 12 hours were an exercise in mounting confusion and frustration. They visited military bases filled with what appeared to be primitive projectile weapons. They toured facilities housing aircraft that still used combustion engines. They inspected orbital platforms that seemed to be little more than communications satellites. Ambassador, Zextal finally burst out during their inspection of what had to be the 100th missile silo. I must insist on seeing your actual defensive capabilities. Martinez raised an eyebrow. Admiral, we've been showing you our defensive capabilities all day. These? He waved a scaled appendage at the missile silo. These chemical-propelled projectiles. These are not defensive capabilities. These are museum pieces. Are they? Martinez's smile took on an edge. Tell me, Admiral, what's the current effective range of your fleet's energy shields? The question caught him off guard. That's classified information, Ambassador. Let me rephrase. Your shields are designed to deflect energy weapons and plasma-based attacks, correct? They create a field that disperses incoming energy across a wider area. That's generally known technology, yes. Martinez nodded to one of her aides, who pulled up a holographic display. And these shields work wonderfully against energy weapons. But tell me, what happens when you fire a tungsten rod at relativistic speeds using a magnetically accelerated launch system? What happens when the projectile is moving so fast that by the time your sensors detect it, it's already passed through your ship? Zextal's armor plates went completely still. You're speaking theoretically. Am I? Martinez gestured to the missile silo. Look closer, Admiral. What you see as an obsolete launch system is actually a housing for something much more interesting. Would you like a demonstration? Before Zextal could respond, alarms blared across his fleet's communication channels. Admiral. Vex's voice was tight with panic. We're detecting massive power spikes across the planet's surface. Ambassador. Zextal's voice was very quiet. Don't worry, Admiral. We're just powering up a few systems for demonstration purposes. You see, those primitive missile silos. They house the capacitor networks for our planetary defense grid. Those obsolete satellites. Magnetically accelerated launch platforms. And those simple chemical rockets. Well, sometimes the old ways work just fine alongside the new. The holographic display shifted, showing a real-time simulation of what would happen if Earth's actual defense network activated. Zextal watched in horrified fascination as the simulation demonstrated how his entire fleet would be destroyed in seconds by weapons his sensors couldn't detect until it was too late. Impossible, he whispered. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical if we used conventional power sources, Martinez agreed. Fortunately, we figured out zero-point energy extraction about 50 years ago. We just didn't see any reason to tell anyone. Zextal's aide dropped her datapad. You've had zero-point technology for 50 years and you still use internal combustion engines? They're reliable, easy to maintain, and they let everyone else think they know exactly what we're capable of. Martinez's smile was almost sympathetic. Admiral, humanity learned a long time ago that the best defense isn't always the most obvious one. Sometimes, the best defense is letting potential adversaries think you're less capable than you are. While hiding planet-killing weapons in plain sight, Zextal finished, his armor plates shifting colors in agitation. Oh, these aren't planet killers, Admiral. These are just our defensive systems. Would you like to see what we consider offensive capabilities? Zextal looked at the simulation still playing out the destruction of his fleet, then at his trembling aide, then back at Martinez's serene smile. I believe, he said carefully, that my report to the Council will be quite detailed enough without that information, Ambassador. Probably wise, Martinez agreed. Now, shall we discuss Earth's application for Galactic Council membership? I believe you'll find we meet all the technological requirements, even if we do still enjoy our primitive rockets. The crew of the pirate vessel Shadow's Reach watched the approach to Earth with mounting excitement. Captain Mira Zaxvir, her bioluminescent scales glowing with anticipation, studied the tactical display with all four of her eyes. Look at this pathetic excuse for a defense network, she purred, gesturing at the scattered satellites orbiting the blue planet. Chemical rockets and radio communications. The Galactic Council must be desperate for new members if they're considering these primitives. Her first officer, a cybernetically enhanced Boraxian named Krell, shifted uncomfortably. Captain, the intelligence reports about Earth are contradictory. The Defense Council inspection team's findings were classified immediately, and there are rumors. Rumors spread by the humans themselves, no doubt, Mira interrupted. A primitive species trying to appear more dangerous than they are. Classic misdirection. She flicked a tentacle dismissively. What we know for certain is that they possess zero-point energy technology, which means they have resources worth taking. The last 3 pirate fleets that entered this system disappeared without a trace, Krell persisted. No distress signals, no debris fields, nothing. Exactly. No evidence of combat at all. They probably paid ransoms quietly to avoid embarrassment. Which means. Her scales rippled with pleasure, they're rich and cowardly. My favorite combination. The bridge crew watched as their fleet of 15 ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Mira had chosen her moment carefully. Earth's largest population centers were facing away from their approach vector, theoretically giving them the element of surprise. Launch cyber warfare probes, she ordered. Let's disable their primitive communication networks first. The probes streaked ahead of the fleet, carrying the most advanced AI viral systems money could buy. They impacted the nearest communication satellites and, nothing happened. Captain, her tech officer called out, confusion evident in their modulated voice, the probes report success, but Earth's communications remain active. Impossible, Mira snapped. Launch a second wave with the quantum decryption package. Their technology is centuries behind ours, they can't possibly. Incoming transmission, Krell announced. They're broadcasting on all frequencies simultaneously. A calm voice filled the bridge. Pirate fleet approaching Earth orbital space, this is Defense Command Actual. We apologize for allowing your cyber warfare probes to believe they were successful, we find it useful to let potential hostiles think they've gained an advantage. However, you are now entering restricted space. Be advised that this is your only warning. Any further advancement will be met with lethal force. Myra's scales flashed with rage. They dare. They think they can threaten the Shadow's Reach. All ships, combat formation. Show these primitives what real space combat looks like. Captain, Krell's voice had taken on an edge of genuine fear, were detecting power spikes across their entire orbital grid. The satellites are changing. The primitive communication satellites were transforming. Panels slid away, revealing sleek weapon systems that bore no resemblance to the crude technology Earth had displayed to the galaxy. But more disturbing were the energy readings, or rather, the complete lack of them. Impossible, the tech officer whispered. Those weapon platforms are dead cold. No energy signatures at all. How are they even functioning? Last chance, Shadow's Reach, the Earth commander's voice was almost gentle. Your shields are designed for energy weapons. They won't help you here. Leave now. Myra's scales blazed with fury. They're bluffing. All ships, target their orbital platforms. Full power to forward shields. Show them what happens when they challenge their betters. The pirate fleet's energy weapons powered up, their shields humming with enough power to repel a small armada. They never got the chance to fire. The first salvo from Earth's defense grid was beautiful in its simplicity. No energy beams, no plasma torpedoes, nothing that could be stopped by standard shield technology. Instead, clouds of tungsten rods, accelerated to relativistic speeds by electromagnetic fields and gravity assists, tore through space with absolutely no warning. The results were devastating. 3 pirate ships simply ceased to exist, converted into expanding clouds of debris by impacts they never saw coming. 4 more spun out of formation, their hulls breached by projectiles moving too fast for their shields to even register. Impossible! Mira screamed, her scales now pulsing with terror. Where are the energy signatures? How are they targeting us? All ships, evasive maneuvers. Captain, Krell's voice was eerily calm, they're not using targeting systems. They've calculated every possible evasion pattern and saturated those spaces with projectiles. We're not fighting a battle, we're trying to dodge math. The second salvo proved Krell's point. As the remaining ships attempted to escape, they flew directly into carefully planned kill zones. Relativistic projectiles shredded their hulls like tissue paper, their much-vaunted shields worse than useless against weapons that carried no energy signature to defend against. On the bridge of the Shadow's Reach, Mira watched her fleet die with incomprehension. But, they're primitives. They still use combustion engines. They broadcast on radio waves. No, Krell corrected, watching the approaching wall of tungsten rods on their tactical display. They choose to use those things. They kept the simple technology alongside their advances because it works, and because it made us underestimate them. We didn't just fail to raid Earth, Captain. We walked right into a trap that was centuries in the making. The final salvo ended the battle in seconds. Of 15 ships that entered Earth space, only the Shadow's Reach remained, its engines damaged and its crew in shock. Pirate vessel Shadow's Reach, the Earth commander's voice returned, still irritatingly calm. Your ships are destroyed, your weapons are offline, and your shields are worthless. Would you like to surrender, or should we demonstrate what our actual weapons can do? Mira, her scales now a pale shade of defeat, looked at her terrified crew. We surrender. Excellent choice. Please maintain your position for boarding. Oh, and Captain. The next time someone tells you a civilization is hiding their true capabilities, you might want to listen. As Earth defense ships approached their crippled vessel, Mira couldn't help but wonder how many other, primitive, aspects of human civilization were carefully crafted deceptions. She had a feeling she didn't want to know the answer. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from over 300 species packed the tiered seating, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of colors, shapes, and biosignatures. At the center of it all, Ambassador Sarah Martinez sat calmly at the defendant's table, seemingly unbothered by the chaos surrounding her. First speaker Zaldaz, his crystalline form shifting through agitated patterns of red and orange, called for order. This emergency session will come to order. We are here to address the recent incidents involving Earth and their apparent technological deceptions. Deceptions? Martinez raised an eyebrow. First speaker, I must object to that characterization. Earth has never deceived anyone about our capabilities. You deliberately concealed advanced technology. The Voraxian representative's cybernetic implants sparked with indignation. Did we? Martinez smiled. We used radio communications openly. We launched chemical rockets regularly. We maintained older technology alongside our advances. At what point did we ever claim we couldn't do more? You allowed inspection teams to see outdated technology. We showed inspection teams exactly what they expected to see, Martinez corrected. If they made assumptions about our total capabilities based on partial observations, that's hardly our fault. The chamber erupted in overlapping arguments. Some representatives demanded immediate sanctions against Earth for its deceptive practices. Others called for forced technology sharing. A few, notably those from older military powers, maintained a thoughtful silence. First Speaker Zaldaz raised all four of his appendages for silence. Ambassador Martinez, you must understand the Council's concern. The destruction of the pirate fleet, while legally justified, demonstrated weapons technology that shouldn't exist at your civilization's development stage. The energy requirements alone are quite reasonable when you understand the principles involved, Martinez interrupted. Though I notice none of you are asking why we chose to maintain multiple technological levels simultaneously. That brought a sudden hush to the chamber. The first speaker's crystalline form shifted to a curious blue. Very well, Ambassador. Enlighten us. Martinez stood, her expression serious for the first time. Look around this chamber. How many civilizations here abandoned their primitive technology the moment they discovered something more advanced? How many of you became completely dependent on zero-point energy, or quantum communications, or neural interfaces? Uncomfortable murmurs filled the chamber as representatives glanced at each other. Humanity learned something important during our development, Martinez continued. Every technology, no matter how basic it seems, has value. Chemical rockets might seem primitive compared to zero-point drives, but they're simple, reliable, and easy to maintain. Radio waves might be less efficient than quantum entanglement communication, but they can't be blocked or intercepted in the same ways. She gestured to the tactical display showing the remains of the pirate fleet. Those ships had the most advanced shields in the galaxy, and they were completely useless against simple tungsten rods moving really, really fast. Sometimes the old solutions are still the best ones. But the level of advancement required to accelerate matter to relativistic speeds. The science minister's tentacles waved in confusion. Is considerable, Martinez agreed. But that's exactly my point. We advanced our technology in every field, but we never abandoned the older methods. We built layers of technology, each supporting and complementing the others. And yes, we let everyone assume we were less advanced than we are, because history taught us that appearing too powerful too quickly tends to make neighbors nervous. The chamber was silent as the implications sank in. Finally, the first speaker asked the question everyone was thinking, what else are you capable of, Ambassador? Martinez's smile returned. Now that would be telling, wouldn't it? But I will say this, those relativistic weapons that everyone's so concerned about. They're not even close to our most advanced technology. They're just the ones we were willing to demonstrate publicly. The silence that followed was deafening. So, Martinez continued cheerfully, shall we discuss Earth's application for Council membership? We've already demonstrated we meet the technological requirements, after all. And if we deny your application? The Voraxian representative cybernetics hummed with tension. Then we'll continue exactly as we have been, developing our technology, maintaining our various technological layers, and defending our interests as needed. Though I should mention. Her smile took on a familiar edge. Those pirate ships weren't the first hostile forces to enter our space. They were just the first ones we let escape with enough intact technology to prove what happened to them. The implications of that statement sent a shiver through the chamber. How many disappearances in Earth's sector over the years have been more than just accidents or mysteries? The first speaker's form had shifted to a thoughtful purple. I believe, he said carefully, that the Council would be very interested in establishing closer diplomatic relations with Earth. Perhaps we could discuss technology sharing agreements. Of course, Martinez nodded. Though I should warn you, our teaching methods are rather unconventional. We believe in starting with the basics. As the chamber erupted in renewed discussion, Martinez sat back down, hiding her amusement. The galaxy was finally starting to understand, humanity hadn't just developed advanced technology. They'd developed something far more dangerous, wisdom about how to use it. One standard year after Earth's admission to the Galactic Council, the Terran Technical Institute had become the most sought-after posting in the galaxy. Ambassador Martinez stood at the podium of its main lecture hall, addressing a chamber filled with representatives from over 50 spacefaring civilizations. "Welcome to Basic Technologies 101, she announced to the assembled dignitaries, many of whom were leading scientists and military strategists in their own right. "Today, we're going to learn about levers." A quantarian physicist, their quantum field shimmering with indignation, raised an appendage. "Ambassador, we came here to learn about your advanced technology. What possible value could there be in studying such primitive mechanisms?" Martinez picked up what appeared to be a simple metal rod. "An excellent question. Tell me, how does your civilization move heavy objects?" "We use gravity manipulation fields, of course. And if those fail? We have backup zero-point energy lifters. And if those fail?" The Quantarian's field flickered in confusion. "Why would both systems fail?" Martinez smiled. "On Earth, we have a saying, anything that can fail, will fail. Usually at the worst possible moment. Now, watch this." She proceeded to demonstrate how to lift an impossibly heavy weight using nothing but the metal rod and a fulcrum. The chamber watched in silence as she explained the physics, the mathematics, and most importantly, the reliability of the simple machine. By the end of the demonstration, even the Quantarian was taking notes. "The problem with depending entirely on advanced technology," Martinez continued, "is that it creates vulnerability. But combine advanced tech with mastery of basic principles." She pressed a button, and the lecture hall's walls became transparent, revealing a massive construction project outside. The assembled aliens gasped. What had appeared to be primitive mechanical scaffolding around a new building was actually an intricate combination of simple machines and advanced technology. Gravity manipulators worked alongside pulleys, quantum field generators complemented basic levers, and worker crews seamlessly switched between neuralinked construction bots and hand tools. "This is why Earth maintains all levels of technology," Martinez explained. "Each level supports the others. Each principle builds on what came before. And most importantly, if any single system fails, we have multiple backups at different technological levels." A Varaxian military observer raised his cybernetic arm. "But surely this is inefficient. The computing power needed to integrate such disparate systems is exactly why we developed quantum computers that can run on mechanical backup systems," Martinez finished. "Which brings us to tomorrow's lesson, binary mathematics using nothing but water and pipes." The chamber buzzed with discussion, but fell silent as alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Martinez checked her communicator and smiled. "Ah, perfect timing. It seems we're about to have a practical demonstration." Outside, a small fleet of ships had appeared in orbit, raiders using stolen phase shift technology to bypass normal space defense systems. The assembled aliens watched in horror as the raiders' advanced shields simply phased out of normal spacetime, making them theoretically invulnerable to any conventional weapon. "Observe," Martinez said calmly, pressing another button. Across the planet's surface, what appeared to be primitive water irrigation systems suddenly shifted position. Jets of ordinary water shot skyward, their paths carefully calculated. As they reached high altitude, hidden equipment flash froze them into ice projectiles. The raiders, their shields phased out of normal spacetime, never saw the attack coming. Their advanced technology had shifted them just slightly out of phase with reality, but had done nothing to protect them from millions of ice particles occupying every possible space they could rematerialize into. "Simple physics," Martinez explained to the stunned audience as the raiders' ships reappeared, riddled with holes from impacts they couldn't have avoided. "You can't rematerialize where matter already exists. Even phase-shifted shields can't protect you from being forced to reappear into a space already occupied by frozen water." The chamber was absolutely silent. This, Martinez gestured to the disabled raiders now being tractored in by Earth's defense forces, is why we teach basic principles alongside advanced technology. Tomorrow's lesson on water physics just got a lot more interesting, wouldn't you say? As the assembled aliens rushed to sign up for more basic technology classes, a junior diplomatic aide approached Martinez. "Ambassador, the Council is demanding to know why we never revealed this defense capability during our membership negotiations." Martinez's smile turned mysterious. "Tell them what I always say, Earth believes in teaching concepts in the proper order. They've just seen the basics of our water-based defense network. Wait until they find out what we can do with fire." The aide's eyes widened. "Should I update the curriculum to include thermodynamics?" "Not yet," Martinez chuckled. "Let's make sure they understand levers first. After all." She looked out at the disabled raider ships, now being systematically disassembled by teams using both quantum tools and simple wrenches. The best way to move the galaxy forward is to make sure it understands how far it's come, and how far it still has to go. In the distance, Earth's defense networks continued their constant vigilance, layers of technology from the most basic to the most advanced working in perfect harmony. And in classified facilities around the planet, engineers continued to develop new ways to combine the old with the new, proving that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in abandoning its past, but in building upon it. The galaxy was finally learning what humanity had known all along: true advancement doesn't mean leaving the basics behind, it means understanding why they worked in the first place.